Welcome back, my creepazoids from all around the world. By the power of the internet, we are here once again, and it is time for the Jade Harvesters build guide special, ultra special shout out to Marita for showing me what's really important in life and putting me on that right path. Love you very much. Let's get stuck into this build. So Jade Harvester, ultra fun build to play. For those of you that have been watching my videos, my journey along the way so far, you've seen me play through, I think, GR100, 90 plus. Let's check out what exactly is involved with this. Let's begin with skills, something nice and easy. We're using Haunt with Poisoned Spirit. We're using Locust Swarm, Cloud of Insects, Piranhas with Paranado, Soul Harvest with Languish, Spirit Walk with Severance, Horrify with Frightening Aspect. Now with this one here, you can go with Jaunt as well, especially if you're doing higher end greater rifting. If you're really pushing those greater rifts, this will increase the duration so you can absorb more damage and be immune to damage for a longer period of time. Severance, however, I like because it improves the movement speed and you can get out of those really sticky situations a lot easier and a lot quicker. It just depends. It depends on your playstyle and it depends what you prefer. You can try both. I'm using Severance for the time being. Horrify with Frightening Aspect. We're using Confidence Ritual, Spirit Vessel, Grave Injustice, and Creeping Death. Let's have a look at the gear. So, of course, we're using the full 6 pieces of Jade Harvester's set here. And Jade Harvesters, for those of you that don't know, is actually the set that you can obtain the easiest this season through the Hodrick's Gift and the Seasonal Journey. So, looking at the set bonuses here for 2 pieces of Jades. When Haunt lands on an enemy already affected by Haunt, it instantly deals 3,500 seconds worth of Haunt damage. So spamming Haunt is just going to keep increasing that damage of Haunt because they're already affected by it. For 4 pieces, Soul Harvest gains the effect of every rune and has its cooldown reduced by 1 second every time you cast Haunt or Locust Swarm. So spamming Haunt all the time, because that's what we're going to pretty much be doing, is going to give us a quicker cooldown on Soul Harvest, which Soul Harvest is super important, not just for survivability, but also for doing damage. That's where we're going to get all the damage. For 6 pieces of Jade, Soul Harvest reduces damage taken by 50% for 12 seconds and consumes your damage over time effects on enemies, instantly dealing 10,000 seconds worth of remaining damage. So, in a nutshell, it's kind of like a damage over time build where we're going to be using our Haunt and Locust Swarm, and as soon as enemies are affected by it, we cast Soul Harvest and then boom, like some sort of atomic bomb, not a bong, bomb, B-O-M-B, it'll just absolutely explode all of that damage over time instantly. So it's going to be super nice. Let's have a look at other gear that we're using. We're using Traveler's Pledge with the Compass Rose here together. So for this set, the bonuses are while moving, damage taken is reduced by up to 50%. So running around, we're going to reduce damage taken. And while standing still, when we're casting Haunt, bang, 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 and grouping up enemies with Paranado or Piranhas, while we're standing still, damage is increased by up to 100%. So once we start increasing our damage to 100%, that's when you just want to go boom, use your Soul Harvest and use all that damage over time effects to just explode everything and instantly deal all that damage from our damage over time effects being Haunt and Locust Swarm. And also using Convention of Elements, which I think I have in Kanai's Cube, which I'll get to shortly. When you're sitting on poison damage, it amplifies damage even more. So that's very nice there. And you do want to try and get poison damage increased by 20% on your amulet here if possible. I haven't got it right now, I just need to keep rolling my Traveler's Pledge. But I don't have it on my ring either. But I do have it here on my Lacumba's Ornament, which brings us to our next item, what we're using, our braces. Lacumba's Ornament, super important. It reduces damage taken by 6% for each stack of Soul Harvest we have. We're going to have a maximum of 10 stacks of Soul Harvest. So 6% times 10, we're going to be taking 60% reduced damage just from those braces. So pretty nice there. Already got a lot of damage reduction just from those 2 from the set bonus from the Endless Walk set, which is a Traveler's Pledge and Compass Throws, and also the braces there. The belt we're using is Haunting Girdle. This is nice because Haunt releases 1 extra spirit, so as we're spamming Haunt, we're actually releasing 2 spirits at a time. Ring of Emptiness, super important. You can either have this equipped here or in Kanai's Cube. There's a few variations you can go with. You definitely want Ring of Emptiness, either equipped or in Kanai's Cube. Some people, you can go with Unity in Kanai's Cube, or Convention of Elements, or the Oculus Ring. There's a few variations you can go with there, but I'll get to Kanai's Cube shortly and we'll see what we have in there. So Soul Harvest. Sacred Harvester is super important because it gives us Soul Harvest stacking up to 10 times instead of 5, which is the standard maximum. So not only are we benefiting by actually using Soul Harvest and activating every rune when we use it, we're now stacking up, we're stacking double. Instead of 5 stacks, we're going to get 10 stacks. So all of these lovely skills here, let's have a look, where is it? So Soul Harvest here. So right now, once we use Soul Harvest, we actually activate all of these runes here. Swallow Your Soul, Siphon, Languish, Soul to Waste, and Vengeful Spirit. All of them become active, and all of them are multiplied, not by 5, but they're going to be multiplied by 10. So very, very important dagger to have there. And of course, Vile Hive, Locust Swarm gains the effect of the Pestilence rune and deals 50% increased damage. So that's why we're using Cloud of Insects here, because with Pestilence, we've already got that rune active because of that Vile Hive, and it definitely it gives us that chance to spread Locust Swarm to other enemies. So we're using Cloud of Insects just for a bit more extra survivability, because enemies will be doing less damage. So very nice there. That's pretty much everything. The gems we're using the Diamond Gem in the helm and these Intelligence Topaz gems everywhere else. Max them out as much as you possibly can. The legendary gems we're using Bane of the Trapped, Esoteric Alteration for further damage reduction with from elemental effects, and Bane of the Stricken, which you can take out and put in Gorgok of Swiftness, but if you're pushing really high greater rifts, if that's your aim, I'd highly recommend Bane of the Stricken. It'll do extra damage because you're going to be attacking enemies more than once. They're not going to instantly die from your Soul Harvest anymore. And it also gives us that 20% increased damage against Rift Guardians, which is definitely nice because the Rift Guardians can be a pain if we run out of Soul Harvest stacks, which can happen, and it's a bit of a sticky situation. Make sure that you put Haunt damage into your shoulders. We want critical hit chance on your helm there. Haunt damage on your chest piece for sure. Poison damage for your amulet, for your ring, and for your braces if possible, but it just depends on the luck of the draw and how it rolls, that's all. We want to go Intelligence, Vitality, Elemental Resistance for the belt there. Nothing that we can really benefit from the pants and the boots. I've gone with Movement Speed because there's nothing else that can really give us any bit of a boost to damage at all. For your offhand, your Vile Hive, you definitely want to go Haunt damage as well. And depending on the luck of the draw with your Sacred Harvester, if you already roll 10% damage, which I didn't, I've put it in there now. If you've already got 10% damage or 9, you can go with like Attack Speed or something like that. Or damage against elites. It just depends on how it rolls. And for your rings, definitely Intelligence, critical hit chance, critical hit damage. I think that's about everything covered off there. I will do a link at the bottom in the comments section or in my detail tab. I'll have a link to a D3 planner so you can actually check all this out on a website rather than trying to memorize everything that I'm telling you. It'll just be an easy reference for everybody. Let's go into Kanai's Cube. So Kanai's Cube, I'm using now, sorry, this is pretty optional. I'm using Wormwood because what Wormwood does is it creates this radius here. Right, you can see that little poison cloud, and any enemies that are in that cloud, and you can pull them in with your piranhas, and you want to use your Haunt to increase your armor, but anything in that radius is immediately affected by your Locust Swarm. So you don't have to cast it, because watch what happens when you cast it. You cast 3 and you're out of you're out of mana. So instead of casting it, I just run around, keep spamming my Haunt, and everything that's sort of within this radius, within this creepy little circle here, and you can pull them in like that, the enemies are instantly affected by Locust Swarm. It's super nice, super handy, and it also it's a lot quicker. I find that enemies are affected a lot quicker. Damage over time is already ticking over. So once you pull enemies in and you wait for your 100% damage increase there, as you can see, when we're moving, it decreases. When we're standing still, spamming Haunt, everything's affected by Locust Swarm. We get to 100%, then bang, cast your Locust Swarm, and everything just multiplies and does that much more damage. So I think I find Wormwood better than anything else. However, you can go with the Furnace for damage against elites, especially if you're pushing really high greater rifts. You can go with Furnace. It just depends on your playstyle and what you prefer. Quetzalcoatl for your armor slot there. Locust Swarm and Haunt now deal their damage in half of the normal duration. And jewelry, I've got Convention of Elements. You want to really pay attention to the icon here. Basically, poison comes straight after the physical element. So after this one here, I believe. So watch, when it becomes green, bang, you're doing all that extra damage. 200% extra damage. So that multiplies with everything else. If you can suck all your enemies in, get your armor up, they're all affected by Locust Swarm, spam Haunt, bang, 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 they're all affected. You can also use your Spirit Walk to stay alive if you're taking damage. Now bang, boom. Once you wait for that green icon to show, that poison one, you're going to be doing some super damage, ladies and gentlemen. Super damage that will definitely help you in greater rifting, especially if you're really trying to push those high greater rifts. That's everything in Kanai's cube. Paragon points, you want to definitely make sure that you're at a maximum of 25% movement speed. So I've got 12 on my gear, so 13 in the Paragon points equals 25 maximum, and that allows us to benefit that maximum cap of 25%. No point going beyond 25% total because you're not going to benefit from it. Everything else into intelligence there. Offense, depending on whether you're fully capped or not with your Paragon points, you want to start with attack speed, crit chance, crit damage, and then cooldown reduction. That's what I'd recommend, but feel free to experiment. Attack speed is important because you're spamming that Haunt all the time, so it's definitely pretty useful. With your defense, you want to go resist all armor, life, then life regen. With utility, you want to go into area damage, life per hit, resource cost reduction, and then gold find last. My enchantress here, you definitely want to get your follower cannot die relic. I believe they call them relics. So make sure that you get one with that legendary stat. Equip on follower, your follower cannot die. Super important because then they're not going to die. They're pretty much invincible. The Tormentor is really nice. It charms enemies as we go through and it reduces damage taken. S of Johan's really nice because she'll pull enemies in and then we can group them up even easier. Oculus Ring is pretty important. It creates an aura on the ground, and if you stand in that aura, all damage we do is increased by 82%. Again, multiplies with everything else. So many multipliers here. I've got the Unity Ring equipped here. However, you can go with something else. I've just got this because I've been experimenting with Unity on my character and also Unity on my follower. But by all means, you can put another ring in there. It's really fine. It doesn't really matter, I don't think, for the secondary ring. As long as you've got everything else equipped there, I definitely highly recommend all of that. I think that pretty much covers everything. We got gear, we got gems, we got everything, the stats that we need. I think we're pretty much good to go to give everyone a creepy little demo. Let's go do a greater rift. I'll show y'all how it's done. Check out if in the details description, in the description below, if there's no link just yet to a D3 planner, just be patient. I'll definitely try and get that up. I will try and get that up as soon as I upload it. It just depends how I'm going for time today. If it's not there now, it will be shortly. So just come back, stay tuned, and keep your eyes peeled. Let's go do a greater rift and show you how this baby actually works. Alright, GR100, my fellow beautiful people. So first things first, we need to get those soul harvest stacks up. So don't be scared to use Spirit Walk, Piranhas, group up enemies, get those stacks up to 10. Sometimes that can be the hardest part because there's a lot of straggling enemies early on in a greater rift and we're so vulnerable with no stacks. But for the most part, if you use your skills correctly, we can get it. We can get it, like we just got it there. Having said that, you really need to concentrate though because it's still so difficult staying alive. You really need to use all of your skills, your immobilizing effects, such as your frightening shout. Use that because that kind of fears enemies, sticks them in place for a little while. You've got piranhas. which will buy you a couple of seconds as well, and then Spirit Walk. I always Spirit Walk in the same place, so I'm avoiding all damage as I'm spamming Haunt, like you can see here. Only when required. I'll use my Piranhas, then I'll use my Frightening Shout, and then if I'm taking a lot of damage and enemies aren't dead, then I'll use my Spirit Walk and make sure I'm positioned very well. Get out of elemental damage like that big snowball there, that snowball sphere thing. And this elite had quite a bit of health, but that's alright. And as you can see, like GR95, we're surviving okay, but you do have to concentrate. This isn't a demon hunter where you can just kill enemies off screen and, you know, staying away from enemies is what's going to benefit you the most and do the most damage. This is definitely a different, delicate kind of playstyle. But if done correctly, it's very effective. Because like, as you can see right now, GR95, we're moving through pretty quick. We're going to try, go for no deaths. You just got to use your skills. Just watch how I do it and listen to what I say to you. Definitely use your Piranhas, group up those enemies. Frightening Shout straight away. That'll buy you a couple more seconds. It'll fear them kind of in place. It'll stick them in place. It'll increase your armor. And then it's really good to have Spirit Walk available. So you can Spirit Walk and just stay in the same spot. So that way you can benefit from being immune to damage. And I definitely use that to my advantage. So as I'm spamming my Haunt and waiting for all those multipliers to come up, like the Convention of Elements, and just making sure enemies are affected by both Locust, Swarm and Haunt, spam, spam, spam. And also the Endless Walk set. Once we're close to 100%, and if we combine that with Convention of Elements poison damage, we're doing some serious damage, ladies and gentlemen, some serious damage output. Oh, you just got to be careful. If you're attacking large dense packs, then your cooldowns are gonna run through very quickly, and you'll be able to use your skills. I've got a feeling we're gonna come to a dead end. Yep, that's all right. We'll kill some trash. There's an elite there. Watch out for the elemental damage on the floor. Pick up those orbs. Keep going. And I use my Spirit Walk just for basic movement speed increase as well. Maybe not the wisest thing to do if you're pushing really high greater rifts, but 95 isn't too much of an issue for me. At this stage 100 plus would be, but for the sake of decent demonstration, which isn't going to take too long and doesn't require me concentrating too much to the point where I can't talk or I can't speak, we're doing it on at 95 just for a demonstration. So definitely effective if done correctly. Oh, where'd you go? This guy won't die. Everything dies. Like Peter Steele says from Typo Negative, everything dies. Alright, nice density here. You're definitely going to want to avoid these explosions from these grotesques like that. Or you can stand in the middle of them as long as you've got your Spirit Walk active at the time. But it's a very touchy situation because if it wears off even a split millisecond before the explosions, you're going to die. So just probably get out of there for that split second. Let them explode and then dive on back in. Oh! So for the most part, dense packs will increase the cooldown reduction and you should have your skills available. Most of the time, if you're vulnerable, just keep your distance a little bit for a couple seconds. Get those cooldowns back up. Get your piranhas to group them up again. Use your Frightening Shout, rinse and repeat. And Spirit Walk when required. Nice, nice density. Oi! Oh, so low on health there, it's not funny. I mean, what you're seeing here is pretty much the same from GR70. You can get one shot in a GR70 if you're not careful. So whether it's 70, 80, 90, 100 plus, you just have to really focus on using your skills and avoiding that damage. It's definitely possible, you've got quite an arsenal there to do so. Like you're seeing, like we're coming towards the end here. We haven't died yet. We had a couple close calls, but that's very normal for a Jade's Harvester Witch Doctor. Ah, sneaky shield pollen. This gives us some breathing room. So right now we're immune to all effects. And this shield pollen lasts a bit longer than other pylons, I think, or is it just my imagination? I feel like it lasts a bit longer. So right now we want to use our Spirit Walk basically just for movement speed increase, trying to get from Elite Pack to Elite Pack, from Dense Pack to Dense Pack. Level up there. And just make sure you don't run out of your Soul Harvest stacks. So make sure as soon as you see a little bit of density or a nice little group, use your piranhas, group them up, do the thing, go through the rotation, and make sure your Soul Harvest stacks are up. Very important, because sometimes when the Rift Guardian pops, excuse me, he makes it a bit difficult to keep your stacks up. And if you run out of stacks when you're fighting, like when you're battling the Rift Guardian, it's not a good place to be in. It really isn't. I've been there before. It's basically impossible unless he spawns enemies to get your stacks back up. He's gonna pop soon. This is a nice dense pack here. Oh yeah, here we go. So we're at full stacks right now, and if we attack him really quickly, make sure you use all those cooldowns we got. Spirit Walk makes you immune. Spam that haunt, and don't be scared to keep your distance. Definitely try and avoid attacks. Oh, damn, missed with the piranhas there. The Crusader King's not too bad. It's pretty easy to avoid his big swings there. And he does spawn a group of enemies there for you to be able to Soul Harvest as well. Come on! Gotcha! Yeah, we got him. 6 minutes, 55 seconds remaining. So as you can see there, not one death. We came close a few times, but that's normal for a Jade Harvester Witch Doctor. Believe me, it's very normal. But we got it done. So going through 100 plus is also like very possible, as you can see there. I think 95, breezing through 95 kind of proves that. And I'm upgrading my gems right now for my fetish build. So the next video, well, not the next video you see, but upcoming this week, I'm going to talk about my Legacy of Nightmares fetish build, which is so much fun, and it's so, I'd like to say overpowered, but it's very effective. It just works super well. I've nearly perfected. I've nearly got all of the items that I need. I just need a couple of ancient rings that I'm currently working on, but that shouldn't be an issue. Even the current setup I have for my fetish, my Carnival Helm fetish build, a lot of the Poison Dart build, a lot of you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you do. It's very effective already. The most important part is having ancients equipped, like 13 ancients, so it multiplies that 750% damage, and also is it 4%? 4% damage reduction. But I'm going to give you all a gameplay demonstration of my Carnival fetish build in the near future. Until then, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. It is optional here, like no pressure. Like I'm not going to beg for subscriptions, but any support that you give, the creepy one right here, I'll appreciate more than words can ever explain or describe. So what are you waiting for? Show some support. Give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, if you're going to try out the Jade's Harvester set for the Witch Doctor. And don't forget to click that notification bell. That way you're notified every damn time your creepy uncle uploads a new video. Cannot wait to see y'all again real soon. Let me know in the comments below what you're playing this season, how's your season going, and also what you think of this Jade's Harvester build. Until then, until next time, I love you all very, very much.